Good evening. It's Thursday. It's 8 o'clock. I'm Vladimir McTavish.
And I'm the one and only Sadiq Khan. Bless you. How are you doing? Welcome, Jay. Welcome, Christy.
Yeah, this is the Thursday show. Hey,
hey, there you go. Should we do an impression of Dave?
Let's not even give him the airtime to mention the fact he's not here.
Why is he here this time?
Well, apparently he's got a paid gig, so he says.
We shall see whether he has a paid gig or not, or whether basically I think he just wants some alone time with the missus. I think that's all. Either that or he's just wanking currently as we speak.
Which is what we've been. So, who can blame the guy? So how have you been, Jay? How's your week?
It's been good. It's been a weird week this week. Is that Emmanuel Macron got slapped in the face by a French person. Even the French don't like the French. This is how much it's got worse. They're just smacking each other all over the place. That was fun. I think other countries should do this. Could you imagine Boris getting smacked? It's like, hey, it'd take an hour before his face suddenly just sort of like goes back to normal again. With all the wobbling going on. But yes, also Joe Biden. Joe Biden's in the UK. And as soon as he got off the plane, they gave him a bus pass straight away, so he can go off and do it. But yes, Joe Biden's in the UK. The weirdest thing is, right? Check this out. I don't know whether everyone else is aware of this, but do you remember that US election that they had quite some time ago, and Donald Trump got kicked out? Do you know they're still counting votes for Arizona because they've kept getting a recount? They don't want to accept the results, so they've kept getting they're still, even now, today, still recounting Arizona's votes. And it's like, I mean, even if, let's say they just went, all right, let's just give it to Donald, he's still lost. I don't know what else he's trying to do.
Is it one guy?
Yes.
There's another one there, and there's one for Trump there, and yeah.
I mean, they did a recount twice already. This is the third time they're doing it. So the two other recounts that they did substantiated, corroborated the actual original result. And then now they're doing it a third time, as if something new is going to happen this time, as if Donald's sitting there kind of going, oh, well, I can't do impressions, but well, they found 40,000 more votes for me. That's it. Nobody knows more about not being able to count than me. Nobody knows more about masturbating than me. The whole of Great Britain call me the king of the wankers. That's it. Could you imagine if he said that in a press conference? That would be hilarious.
I think they should carry on for the next 4 years. Just counting.
Even the next election, they're still counting. How have you been? Vlad?
Well, it's been all right. I'm back. Back on a real stage tomorrow. I've taken a couple of weeks longer than a lot of people. So yeah, tomorrow I'm down at the Newcastle stand on stage in front of an audience, and it'll be the first time in several weeks. Well, more than that, several months. I have done a gig wearing trousers. Well, I say doing a gig wearing trousers. I might forget.
You've turned into LJ Defunk. Everything's
well, look forward to it. It's really nice. You've been back already, I know, and it's 3. Yeah. Well, I've got 3 over the weekend, so it's nice to kind of finally look forward to something. And then on Monday, we have a big day here in Scotland. We have our first international football game in a major tournament for 23 years. 23 years, the Scottish men's football team got to a major tournament. We're in the final of the Euros on Monday, and UEFA, in acknowledgement of how long Scotland have had to wait to play in a major tournament, UEFA have scheduled the kickoff for 2 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. So there's been a move. There's actually been a move to allow kids to watch the game. Because find out, but 23 years, most of the Scotland team can't remember being at a tournament. So, like, kids in primary, they have a bloody clue. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when we actually got to these tournaments regularly, but like at 2 o'clock, the country's going to grind to a halt. People will be throwing sickies from work. Truancy at schools will just be fucking up. I go going through the bloody roof. No, it's exciting because, like I say, 23 years of hurt we've had to put through as a nation. 20 years of constant disappointment. Quite often, in the old Scottish way, defeat being snatched from the jaws of victory. But now we've finally done it, and well, actually, as a nation, World Cup or the Euros, just having that sense of disappointment and nearly there. And we're very good at it now. Disappointment, fantastic. We're really good at being disappointed. In fact, we're already disappointed about the fact the game kicks off at 2 o'clock on a Monday. More disappointment. If I go as far as this way, I reckon if there was a world championship for disappointment, Scotland wouldn't qualify. That's how fucking good we are. We also had a partial eclipse of the sun the early hours of this morning. The partial eclipse of the sun. The whole the UK had the partial eclipse of the sun, and whole country had a partial eclipse of the sun, and people were flocking to Aberdeenshire to see this partial eclipse because it's such a novelty at this time of year to not have a total eclipse of the sun.
Exactly.
25% of it.
Awesome. I think also at this juncture we should also mention this concept of donations as well. We here at the Thursday Show, we do this week in, week out, and we the only way how we ever kind of make anything out of this is purely down to your donations. Anything you give at all to paypal.me/freefestonline would be hugely appreciated. And on top of that, with the money, we might be able to afford a host.
What we're trying to do with this week's money is inventing a bogus paid gig for Dave Chawner to do next week.
Yes.
It's actually a better show for him, believe it or not.
We've got a brilliant show ahead of us this week. It's all about the Euros. It's all about football, all sorts of things. We've got some phenomenal guests. And indeed, we've got two absolutely phenomenal guests. We've got some games at the end, just as our normal Thursday show self itself. So let's go on and bring on our first. Should we do this? Let's bring on our first guest.
I'm very excited about this, Jay. To be honest, I have been a huge admirer of this guy. Well, in two fields: one in entertainment, but secondly in sport, because he was a legend in football. And he is now an ex-trainer. And I grew up watching this guy on TV, and I'm just amazed we got him in the show. Yeah.
Yes, it's a true legend in every right. So let's do this. So our first guest, he's already a legend. So let's watch a little clip of him in action. It's the one and only Bob Doolally.
Yes, y'all know me, Bob Doolally, great footballing legend and close personal friend of all the great players in the game. If you don't remember me from the back pages of the newspapers, you're bound to remember me from the front pages of the newspapers. I had a highly controversial personal life, as you know. I was married 6 times. I was married to Miss Kirkcaldy of 1959. I was married to Polly off the Tennant's Lager can. Hey, she gave good head. Aye. Just pull her ring, she fizzed all over the place. Especially shook it up a wee bit. I was married to Petula Clark, sadly dead now. I was married to Barbara Dixon, sadly still alive. I was married to Cliff Richard, sadly dead at the time. And of course, I was married to Barbara Woodhouse. Christ, she was a pervert. She tried to get me to come when she whistled. That in my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, all modern football players, they're all Jessies. They've had it too easy. When I was a laddie growing up in Glasgow during the war, we couldn't even afford a proper football. So we had to play with whatever we could get our hands on. We, Bobby McInnesby, close personal friend of mine, sadly dead now. He could play keepy uppy for 2 hours solid. We had dog shite. Get on the foot there. On the shoulder. Hey. Get in the heat. Just a wee bit of advice. You get it on your head, keep the mouth shut. That was it.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic. So please give up for our very first guest, the legend, that is Bob Doolally.
Cheers, thank you. Thank you very much. It's nice to be here on the internet.
It's amazing the 21st century, isn't it?
It is the 21st, is it? Aye. Well, no, it's great to be here because, like you were saying, and the other lad was saying, I was a legend in football. I mean, I don't know if you remember me as a player because I mean, obviously, I played in the 60s and 70s. Had a great career. I mean, I played for Spurs, played for Tottenham Hotspur, I played for Wolverhampton Wanderers, I played for Wolves. Yeah, and it's marvelous to be here speaking to you young people, and of course. Like the boy was saying earlier on, Scotland very excited about this new tournament. I mean, 23 years we've not qualified, and as you might know, and a lot of the viewers, if you don't know this, a lot of the viewers out there will know that I played for Scotland, and in fact there it is. It's my Scotland jersey. I wore that jersey with pride. My son wore it at Pride. I was fucking pissed off about that. So, are you a football fan yourself?
Unfortunately, I used to follow West Ham. This is back in the day of Trevor Brooking. I now somewhat emulate Trevor Brooking as or certainly his hair anyway. But
He's a quality player, Trevor. He was a quality player, Trevor Brooking. He didn't deserve a knighthood. No, he didn't deserve a knighthood, Trevor Brooking. But no, there was some great. I had some close personal friends at West Ham. Bobby Moore, sadly dead now. He's Martin Peters, sadly dead now. Didn't like Jeff Hurst. Nah, I never liked Jeff Hurst. No, anyone who scores a hat trick for England in the World Cup final, and fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
Now, this is the question I wanted to ask you. You're clearly a legend in football. You've been on the pitch. You've been a manager. You've done all these things. What do you think of the fans? Have the fans changed? Because back in the day, certainly in West Ham, there was the ICF and all sorts of violence and so on. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? I might join you. What do you reckon are the fans nowadays?
Well, see, that's the other thing. You see, I mean, young people now might be surprised to see a former athlete smoking, but back in the 60s, they all smoked. That's how fucking fit we were. I think not smoking is as bad as taking performance-enhancing drugs. It was compulsory to smoke. When I first started smoking, playing, it was compulsory to smoke. And the actual referee would come into the dressing room before the kickoff and make sure you were smoking. Changed it. I think the fans see football had its demons, didn't it? It had its demons. I don't think we can pretend it didn't have its demons, and there were some dreadful events in the 70s, particularly. But these were just normal working class bampots fucking kicking shite out of each other. That's what you did. If in those days, if you didn't kick shite out of each other on the terraces, you did it in the street. So it was actually a good way of taking violence out of society by putting it in the football grounds. Now, working class bampots can't afford to go and see West Ham in the fucking Olympic Stadium. So, they're just kicking shite out of each other in fucking Hackney and Dalston. Well, not Dalston or Hackney anymore, no, because they've been priced out of there too. So that's the thing, people have been priced out of fucking heaven.
I would love to see you as a Sky Sports pundit. That would be so awesome. Just telling it like it is. I
wasn't Sky Sports.
Huh? There you go.
I get taken off because I don't know how much you know about the bad blood between me and Bobby Charlton.
No. Do tell.
I like Jack, Big Jack. He was a close personal friend of mine, Big Jack Charlton, and he liked to smoke. But Bobby, he was a humorless fucker. And you see modern football players now. They kind of go on Twitter and things like that. We couldn't do that. Not in the 1960s. I couldn't go on Twitter and social media and say Bobby Charlton's a prick. I had to take out a postcard in every newsagent's window in Manchester that said Bob Doolally thinks Bobby Charlton's a prick. And the reason being, no, because he says he's got dementia now. That's his bloody latest excuse, isn't it? For not paying me that £5. He's not been £5 in the late 1950s. And £5 was serious fucking money in those days.
Yes.
And it was briefly at the time I was at Manchester United. I was at Manchester United, and me and Bobby were at Munich Airport. We're looking in the departure lounge, and we're looking out the snow there. And I said to Bobby, £5 says that thing never gets off the fucking ground. Never paid me back. Aye. I told that story in Sky Sports, hence not being on Sky Sports anymore.
We have a question from one of our regular viewers and stuff.
Right.
So yes, if footballers are soft now, are the fans softer as well? Basically, football fans, are they pussies now? Is that what it is?
Aye. You're not allowed to take a razor into a game anymore.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I think football is missing the violence. I think when I was growing up and like living in West Ham and all the kind of violence and mobs and stuff like that, the football gangs and everything that was kicking off then. It was at the time, it was like, oh, this is quite scary. And then when it sort of turned into the family game, it was like, okay, now it's just entertainment. Is it a lot of football matches? I went to go and watch a football match a few years ago, and it was just basically like one of these kind of baseball tournaments, like the World Series or something. It was like Mickey Mouse could have just walked out on stage and just sang a song or whatever. And I was like, oh, well, where's the proper football? Where's the proper fouling? And because I don't like all this acting business that's going on with fouling. I'm sure in your days there was proper fouling.
Yeah, proper fouling. And you could kick a man. As long as you kicked a man below the knee, that was all right. Above the knee, that was maybe, we didn't even have cards in those days. The groin, that was an early bath. Because some people might remember me leaving the pitch at Hampden Park playing for Scotland. I left halfway through the game with a badly lacerated foreskin. No one ever found out who it belonged to.
Oh, bless! This is amazing. And maybe they turned it into.
What if you want to shave at half time? You can't take a razor. And here's another thing. I mean, the fans are getting back into grounds, but we now live in a pretty much, I think you'll agree, you live in a cashless society now. That's taken another element out of football fans. I mean, how the fuck can you chuck a coin at a referee now? I mean, I suppose you just email them your Visa card number.
Yeah.
Open a PayPal account. Put a message in. Here's a quid, you blind fucking one-eyed bastard.
I genuinely hope that you get a series on Sky Sports. I'd love to watch it. A couple of other things. Obviously, Vlad is a big fan of yours, and so on and so forth. Do you know Vlad?
I've never met him. Never met him in my life. And you know what? I'm not sure I want to.
Why? What's wrong with Vlad?
Well, he just seems a bit anti-establishment, and that's all very well. But you know, he strikes me as being one of these kind of knee-jerk lefties. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But you should consider the issues. And I would go and watch the guy if I ever watched live comedy, which I don't, because it's just filth, just cunts fucking swearing. That's what it is.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're not even just talking about Leo Curse. This is lovely.
I don't even start that fucking long leg fucker.
Oh, this is beautiful.
In the Scottish election and lost his deposit.
Yes. What's your take? What's your take on Scottish independence then?
Oh well, we should definitely be independent. It should definitely be independent. And the reason being, if we were independent, we'd be independent. And that's the important thing about independence. It's about being independent. And a lot of people just don't understand this. They say, well, what about the pound? Well, fuck it. We don't get it. I mean, why are we talking about a currency? No one's got fucking currency anymore. So you don't need currency. And they're saying, well, what about the Queen? Well, for fuck's sake. If we get another referendum on independence in 2 years' time, chances are the Queen will be fucking dead. So that shouldn't be an issue either. I mean, what we should do is just wait for it to die and be independent. And then also, I think Boris Johnson is probably the biggest advertisement for Scottish independence. You would, I mean, if you were given the chance of coming to Scotland, you would come, wouldn't you? You'd come to Scotland.
Yeah. I've been there several times, many times over. I love Scotland.
Every time you're there, you think, I wish this fucking country was independent so these cunts couldn't get fucking south of the border.
I do. I turn Scottish when I go there. I have fish and chips. That's what I do. Not even an I in it. Fish and chips. That's what I do.
You should be really Scottish and get a black pudding supper.
I love heart attacks. I love heart attacks.
Yeah. Now, deep fried marshmallow. That's nouvelle cuisine up here.
Now, Bob, it's lovely having you. But I want to ask you. A question. I want to ask you about what do you think is going to happen for the Euros? Now, we're going to do some predictions a little bit later. But what do you think is going to happen? What are the teams you're looking for?
Well, obviously, it's hard to see beyond Belgium. No, it is very hard to see beyond Belgium. Because I've been in the south coast of England. You can't even see Belgium. So, I mean, seeing beyond Belgium, that's just defies the laws of how the human eyesight works. So there's that. Belgium, France. It's hard to see beyond France. Spain, that is beyond France. So you can maybe count them in. And I grudgingly have to say that I've been very impressed with some of the younger England players. I am very impressed. Marcus Rashford, I'm very impressed with him. Not just as a player, but how he just tells the government what to fucking do. Give these kids dinners during the holidays, you bunch of tight arse bastards, right? See that's old school. Very impressed with him.
We love having you here. The one thing I'm just going to ask: are you a little bit pissed? Are you a little bit pissed, Bob?
No, I've hardly started.
Flashbacks.
I mean, that's the other thing you see is the drinking culture that used to be in football has been taken out of the game with diets and things like that, and I could see the idea of having a diet rich in carbohydrates. You're running about for 90 minutes. You need carbohydrates. That's how it works. I was one of the first managers to bring the science of carbohydrates into sport, and I just thought the best way of getting carbohydrates into your system is 10 pints of Guinness.
Beautiful. I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
Oh, wait a minute. That'll be Deliveroo. I've got a Deliveroo order. Yes. Thanks, son. That's good. Sorry, it's a steep hill on your bike there. I'll give you a tip. Yes. Stick in at uni, son. You get a better fucking job than sacking up steep hill delivering fucking stuff to lazy cunts. Here that's Deliveroo. That's my Deliveroo. Nice bottle of Stolz. Yeah, so I mean, part and parcel of the game, drinking.
Beautiful. No, beautiful. Listen, Bob, flashbacks. I'm being triggered as we speak of New Year's Eve right now. I love having you here. Bob, stick around. We've got plenty of fun and games to come on.
Talking about, what you mentioned in New Year's Eve, I just want to mention the fact that this year, at New Year, hopefully, if all goes well and there's not another lockdown, I'm going to be in a pantomime.
Oh, lovely.
I've been in a pantomime before, and it's a brutal thing, pantomime. I was in a pantomime a few years ago, and one of the cast was anally raped on stage, but it was his own fault. The audience gave him plenty of warning. Well, yeah, it's lovely to talk to you, son, and I'm sure I'll be back at the end of the show where we've got our football quiz and all that kind of thing.
Absolutely. This is beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Doolally there, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely awesome. Lovely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have another fantastic guest, which when I first started doing comedy, I saw him many years ago at the store and places like this, and it's a pleasure to have him, a stalwart of the comedy circuit here, and a very fine gentleman. So we're going to see a little clip of him. So please put your hands together, go wild. Oh, and also do donate whatever you can, and let's move on to Gavin Webster.
Do you know who I blame genuinely? It's the liberal left-wing crowd. Not genuine left-wing people, by the way. I'm old Labour. That's me, politics. Very proud of that, But the trendy left, the left of the last 15 years, the trendy... organic... fair trade... balsamic vinegar... futon socialist crowd, you know? Do you know what I mean? The Jesmond set. You know, I wouldn't say Jesmond was pretentious, but the ice cream van players Rachmaninoff. No, and the do you know what I mean? They blame you. They blame you for the trouble in the world. Have you noticed? It's your fault. All the onus is on you. Oh, it's not Al-Qaeda, not America. It's your fault. It's you. It's your fault there's trouble in the world. And because you're doing the heinous crime of having a good time. You know, you can tell them the hatred and the nastiness and the viciousness in the voice when they say, oh, look at you lot, drinking. Yes, when you know that there's only 1,000 pandas left on the planet, and I was quite surprised at that statistic, weren't you? 1,000 pandas left on the planet. I honestly thought there was only about fucking 12. You know what I mean? But it turns out there's actually 1,000. We've got nothing to worry about, have we? We can carry on running them over, or whatever the fuck we were doing before. You know, just send them to the circus, making them play rugby league. What the fuck are we doing? I don't know. 1,000 pandas? That's a theatre full of pandas. Admittedly, that's quite a tough crowd. And all dressed the same. And probably a black tie do. Now, thing is, right, I think essentially what they're trying to say is there's 1,000 and they're...
It is an absolute joy to welcome this guest. He's an old mate of mine. We started out in the business together, actually, so please welcome the marvellous Gavin Webster.
Hello.
Hey, Gav, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. It's great looking at that clip when it looked like I've had a lot to eat before I'd been on stage.
that was the City Hall in Newcastle, wasn't it?
That was the City Hall in Newcastle about 10 years ago, maybe, something like that.
Okay. So was that a one-man show at the City Hall?
Yes, it was my one-man show. No, it wasn't. It was a thing called Sunday for Sammy, which is a thing they do every 2 years in Newcastle, where you get like it's to raise money for new acts and people getting a start in the business, and Sammy is for Sammy Johnson, who played the part of Stick in Spender. I think that's his most famous part. He died.
He died very young. He died in 19. Yeah, I think he died about 20 odd years ago. Yeah,
about 1998, I think, something like that.
Yeah. Something like that. He's a lovely guy. Did you know? I knew him very well. Yeah, because in my previous life as an actor, I did quite a lot of work at live theatre down by the quayside, and Ronnie, which was his real name.
Yeah, his real name. Ronnie. Yeah.
No, he was fucking diamond of a guy. He once directed a show. I wasn't in this. Ronnie was directing, and he gave the cast a note. He says, "Never know what you're doing wrong, but it's shite."
Well, you know, it's the X factor of what you're doing wrong there, but not exactly putting his finger on it. But was it? What was the show? Can you remember?
I can't remember. I think it was at live theatre. It was. So so we pretty much started out at the same time, didn't we?
You've got a couple of years on me, haven't you? And of course, you started in the sort of satirical group, didn't you? Wayless, and then you went.
That's right. In fact, we were just talking about that before the show, but we briefly had a stint on arts program at 90s television
called what was it called?
The Works. Called The Works, and it was The Works, as in work. Why they called it work? Given it. Anybody in Newcastle knows what work means, like.
There wasn't a lot of work then down on the quayside, was there? Really, ironically enough.
That's right. The Works. It was a rather insensitive name for a program brought out in the height of the Thatcher era. It was recorded in the same tiny studio that the Tube went out on, and it got multi-million viewers every Friday night. And it was presented by Muriel Gray, who was one of the presenters of the Tube. And in fact, to this day, me and Muriel actually still share a haircut. And
Yes.
11 o'clock on a Thursday night, and if you told young people this, they wouldn't believe you. But you remember when the telly used to close down?
It did, yeah. It closed down in the afternoon as well, but it certainly closed down at night at about, it was always different, but it was about midnight, wasn't it, pretty much? Sometimes 12:15 or 11:45 or something. It was closed down.
Well, one time, BBC had closed down before the works ended.
Mm-hmm.
And the test card on BBC got higher ratings figures than the works.
And that's quite impressive when you think about it, because there wouldn't be Sky at that time of any note. It would have been 4 channels, 4 choices, and one of them closed down. Maybe 2 of them had closed down. Maybe at that point. So it was either that or a Channel 4 film of the test card, and it was still getting less.
But what gets me about that is people preferred to watch nothing on telly. I mean, they didn't turn the telly off. I'll keep telly on, but we're not watching that shite and timepiece.
It's not technically anything. It's a still of a little girl with a chalk and a teddy bear, isn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a bit creepy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was technical. Yeah, it had a horror film feel about it, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been designed by Jimmy Savile.
Yeah, and you don't know who was behind that camera, do you?
No, exactly.
Just sit still there. Just.
Can you move the dolly a bit? Can you bend over so you can actually write something on that blackboard?
Yeah. Backstage says, wasn't Stuart Hall going to turn up?
Well, yeah. And he's not dead yet, is he?
He's still alive, Stuart. Yeah. I think he's out of prison now. So I think they might make more It's a Knockout.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? If he came back and did It's a Knockout.
The time's a great healer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You'd presumably get some underage child being assaulted by a massive, big...
Yeah, an enormous Jolly Green Giant or something. And it involves having to put water in a dispenser, and it's got to get to a certain level before they win, you know what I mean?
Well, they've not done it! No! Oh, they played the Joker!
Oh, yes. Takes me back. It really does.
Yeah, happy days. So, yeah, although we've known each other for 20-odd years, and one thing that will surprise a lot of people, because this is, we're talking about the football tonight, one thing I think will surprise a lot of people watching and listening to your accent is that you're a Scotland fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Scotland supporter in terms, Aye, so it's going to be exciting on Monday, isn't it?
Monday's going to be exciting. Next Friday, more exciting yet, isn't it? I wouldn't take a gig next Friday night.
Oh, I'm not working. I thought I wouldn't want to work for that.
No fucking way. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to stay in the house and watch it rather than go out.
I think somebody is, I think, offering to. There's I play 5-a-side football down at a place called Anseo House, which is an army place on the quayside, and they've got a few people watching the game, and there's a couple of Scottish fellas.
All right,
so I take them up on that, whether they're just watching the house. One of the Scottish fellas, get this right, he's a Rangers fan, and he's called Kevin O'Hara. I think there's some sort of denial going on there somewhere, isn't that? You know what I mean? But yeah, I might do that, or I might watch in the house with my daughters getting interested a bit. So
great.
Quarter Scottish, I suppose.
Yeah.
So that's
because that's the thing. Because I lived, as you know, I lived down in the northeast for years, and I always felt really at home there because Geordies and Scots are very, very similar people. They've got a very similar mindset, very similar culture. Mm-hmm. And the only time I ever felt I didn't belong was on the day of a Scotland-England game.
Well, there must have been a few of them. There must have been a few of them when you were down there, were you?
Yeah. I remember being in the pub. The last time we won at Wembley, which was in 1999, when Don Hutchinson.
November 1999.
Don Hutchinson. Yep.
Who was, ironically, was from Gateshead.
That's right, yeah. But his dad was like you. His dad was Scottish.
Was from yeah, he's the second generation, like me. Yeah. But that's right.
Like you. Gateshead.
That's right. Were you in Newcastle in 1977, the year of the goal coming down?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, the year we ripped the fucking pitch up and broke Wembley.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. There's many a load of Scotland born with the Wembley turf, isn't there?
Yeah. And I wasn't just in Newcastle. In 1977, I lived in Benwell.
God, right, really? Wow.
Absolutely. And people were saying, look at this hooliganism. I thought, fucking Benwell.
There was burglars coming into your house complaining about the hooliganism as they were taking the telly.
That's the thing, they're making our telly. Look, this bad behaviour.
Oh dear, that's a good one.
How's the last 15 months been, mate? Because it has been a long old bloody journey we've all been on. Have you been kind of keeping yourself busy, or have you just kind of thought, I'll wait until things reopen?
Well, at first it was a bit hard. Like, I think a lot of people can feel the same like about that. But after a while, I've got into a few different bits and pieces, started writing and doing a bit on Facebook and things every Friday. I do a TED talk and been catching up on other kinds of writing, and can't wait to get back now though. You the same?
Yeah. Well, yeah. In fact, I'm down Newcastle Stand tomorrow night.
Oh yes, I'm
really I'm really excited about, Gav? Getting on a train.
All right, yes, I've heard that they're not as busy as they once were.
Can't wait.
Well, that's a nice run by Northumberland, going across, hugging the coast. I presume that's the line you'll be going on.
And I'll be finishing trying to get the last train back.
All right.
And that time of night is fucking gorgeous at this time of year.
Yeah. Oh man.
And the sunset. Yeah. Getting a couple of cairns, obviously. Sainsbury's.
Yeah, there's a Sainsbury's at the station, isn't there? And
that's right. In fact, is that beer shop still at the station?
It might be. It was when Civilization was on, so I don't know whether it still is. But
that's great, that beer shop.
It was
claim to be train beer specialists. They're selling people cans to get the bloody train.
Yeah.
To be a specialist.
Was it specialist beers, or was it just your kind of usual kind of pish, like,
Nah, it was Ponzi Craft Ale.
All right. So it'll be like 15 quid a can or something like that. But
Yeah, get one can there, but you get 4 cans of Stella and Sainsbury's next door for the same price.
Of course, yeah, and that does the job, as it were,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But what I've always loved about the way you work and approach the business is you kind of you've always taken risks. You always just do what you find entertaining and take an audience with you, and you never let the grass grow under your feet. That's the thing that really, I think, really impresses me, given the 2.5 decades doing this. You still kind of always want to do different stuff, and I love that sitcom you brought out. It was a few years ago. I remember you did a viewing of it during the Edinburgh Fringe. Episode 1. I love it. Yeah.
Oh, bless you. Yeah, we made 3. Hopefully, we'll make more. We made 3, and it's out. It's on Amazon Prime now. So if people have got Amazon, watch it for free. Yeah, you can watch the whole thing, all 3 episodes for free. On EJ. I don't need to give you the address. You just go to Amazon Prime and type Gav, and you'll find it. It's called "I've Got a Job for You, Gav." So I'm like a taxi driver, it's basically what my life might have been had I've not done the stand-up comedy. So a taxi driver who thinks he's too good for taxiing, like basically a waste that I didn't bother trying to retrain or do anything like that. But as a taxi driver, like dismissing and feeling that you're better than everybody else that you work with, and the backdrop is the skullduggery and things that go on in the city of Newcastle, which sort of does happen,
right?
Normally by people who've got like consciences and who are very self-righteous on the TV and things like that, and then they've got like dirty private lives. So that's the three.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I've seen 2 episodes of them both. And in fact, we've got a clip from one of them now, I think. So
yeah.
Yeah, so the viewers can see this and like it. Go on to Amazon Prime and watch the rest of it. Oh, before we do that, though, you've got a big show coming up, I believe, in the autumn, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm at the Tyne Theatre on the 12th of November. Gavin Webster plays Live to Actual People. It's on Friday the 12th of November. It's my birthday on the 13th of November, which is obviously... I'll be in the pub next door, so that would be like New Year. It'll kick over then, and I'll be 52 in the wee small ones, and so that should be a good night. So you're quite welcome to join me, whoever's coming to the gig on the 12th.
Oh, absolutely. Well, let's have a look at the clip from the sitcom, and then we'll have a bit more chat.
Why do you sit singing willow, tit willow, tit willow? Is it weakness of intellect, birdie I cried, or a rather tough worm?
I suppose you thought that you were being blooming clever acting on the church. What? Oh, don't think I didn't see you. There's a place for being a log out, and it certainly isn't your auntie's funeral.
A log out? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, don't you? Acting the fool and behaving like a 5-year-old, you and your cousin Ronnie. Admittedly, he wasn't as bad as you, but then again, who is?
I was actually embarrassed by Ronnie's behaviour.
Look, I'm not interested. You obviously can't behave yourself. And you're a grown man. Your mother would be appalled if she was still here. Her and your Auntie Isabel. Sylvia. And it's her day.
Her day? Yeah, man. I never even saw her for about 30 years. You know, I wouldn't even recognise Sylvia if I saw her in the street.
Auntie Sylvia to you. And I'm your Auntie Margaret. And I tell you something. You are not too old for me to put you over my knee and give you a good belt.
Oh, like that's going to happen, you old shit kicker. You know what I mean? Hey, you've got osteoporosis, man. I'll fucking knock you out.
What?
Yeah, man, I still play a 5-a-side.
Damn cheek.
Ronnie! Gav!
Brilliant! That's lovely. I'm watching it. I'm watching it on Amazon Prime.
He's quality, that boy.
What was that?
It's good to see him on the show. Aye. Well, I've seen this boy, Gavin Webster. I told you I didn't like live comedy. He's the exception. Aye. He does. Because he tells jokes.
Aye,
tells jokes. Aye, doesn't tell us what he thinks about shit. Tells fucking jokes. That's
yes.
Incidentally, just for the viewers, in case you are wondering where Vlad is right now, just in case if anyone did give a shit, Dave Chawner had a paid gig. Or was booked for a paid gig, and basically he turned up. We just got a phone call. He turned up to the gig, and they basically kicked him out the comedy club because they thought they booked Dave Chappelle. So he's on his way back, but they needed a replacement. So Vlad phoned up, and then Vlad is going over to do the gig as we speak. So I am left with 2 wonderful guests here. And hey, considering it's Euro 2021, let's do this. We're going to have a little quiz about, what's going to happen.
I want to ask the boy, me Gavin, because I like to say I'm a big fan. And when I ask him what he thinks, because I think it's appalling that England fans boo the England team.
Do you want me?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it was Middlesbrough, so that's extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, they were probably taking the knee because they were overcome by the chemicals in the late 80s.
So,
there's a Middlesbrough there.
Next Friday, the whole crowd's going to be booing England because there'll be the England fans booing them for taking the knee, and the Scotland fans booing them just for being fucking England.
This is it. This is awesome. This is awesome. So let's do this. So let's move on to our first question for the Euro 2020. 2021. But yes, let's do this. So West Germany won the 1973 World Cup in West Germany. Who were the only unbeaten team in the tournament?
Do you want to answer that? Do you want to answer that? Well, because I do know the answer to this one.
Okay. Well, I knew quite a lot of members of that team. Peter Hotshot Lorimer, sadly dead now. He sadly died last year, along with Jack Charlton and Norman Hunt and Trevor Cherry. The only glimmer in the horizon that were all Leeds United players, so nobody fucking cares.
That's it.
Kelly Bremner, he was in that team as a Leeds United player. I knew a lot of them, and I've given a few clues. It was Scotland.
Sandy Jordan was in that team. He's sadly dead now, wasn't he?
Sadly dead now. Jackie Johnston.
Of course,
sadly dead
now. John Blackley, sadly still alive now. He's one of the worst Newcastle players I've ever seen, and he was playing in that.
Well, surprise, we have the entire Scotland team. No, I'm joking. But yes.
Tommy Hutchison was in that team, and he still is the only man to score for both teams in an FA Cup final.
That's true.
You really do know your football.
Manchester City and Spurs.
That's right.
David again.
That's awesome. That's all. 1 point each. Well done. Very, very good. Let's move on to question two. Question two. Here we go. So, name the odd one out. Socrates, Albert Camus, Pope John Paul II, or Joe Hart. Who's the odd one out?
Well,
I know this one myself, but I'm not going to. Shall I say what it is?
Go for Gavin.
I just want to find out which Socrates is. That Socrates, the Greek philosopher?
Yeah, also known as Plato.
Or is it the Brazilian midfield player who was a chain-smoking alcoholic, so he can play for Scotland?
I believe it actually is Socrates, because I think the other three were goalkeepers. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's
correct.
Yes, that is very true.
I thought it was a question about existentialism.
That's the kind of shit we do on the Thursday show.
Camus, obviously, was one of the forefronters of the existentialist literary movement. Socrates, I was thinking it was the Greek philosopher, you see, and his thoughts very much influenced existentialism. And Joe Hart had quite a lot of existentialist moments in goal for England. He spent quite a lot of his time thinking, why am I here? And quite a lot of the England fans had existentialist thoughts. I mean, why is that cunt there?
This is brilliant. So far, Gavin's in the lead. So let's do our final question. Let's do this. So, better than their dad or not as good? Frank Lampard, Jamie Redknapp, Kasper Schmeichel, or Paul Dalglish? Go on.
Frank Lampard better than his dad. His dad was shite. His dad was fucking dog shite. You should go. You remember his dad, Jay? He's a West Ham. They both played for West Ham, obviously.
Yes.
Old Frank, rubbish.
Scored the winner of FA Cup semi-final once. Frankie Lampard, as they used to call him, didn't they, back in them days? He gave him his full moniker. It was against, but it was at Goodison Park, the opponent. Yes. Kasper Schmeichel.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Casper. Jamie Redknapp, nothing like as good as his dad. Better player, just a boring cunt. But his dad, bloody entertaining, isn't he? His father. I mean, I would never take financial advice from Jamie Redknapp. I'd take it from Harry.
We've got a brown envelope just for that one. There you go. And what about Paul Dalglish? Come on.
Paul
No,
Dalglish.
better than his dad. Kenny was a great player, but he never played in America.
Not play for Hibs either, did he? I don't believe.
Never played for Hibs. Never played for Newcastle United.
Funny enough, speaking of Hibs and sons, I know John Brownlee's son, and he's a cunt. So there you go. Yeah.
Fuck Sky Sports. This is where you get all your sports news from. This is where we get it from. This is
Brady, will you? You know what I mean?
Right.
The actual answer is no one knows. Who cares?
Casper Schmeichel or Peter Schmeichel. That's that. The jury's out in that.
Yeah. That's exactly what they said about OJ. Cool. So we're gonna move on. I'm still doing OJ jokes, even though it says
we're on to American football now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now let's find out what the predictions. What are your predictions, both Gavin and Bob? Now we had a little bit from Bob. Let's hear Gavin's predictions for the Euros.
What were specific ones that you think will happen?
What are you looking for? Who do you reckon's going to win? Who do you reckon's going to be out first round?
Oh, it's not my era really. I was a big fan of previous World Cups and Euros, but France. Shall we go with France? Yeah, go with France to win it.
To win it. Oh, okay. I thought you meant out in the first round because they all just slapped in the face by the referee. Something.
I don't actually. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who's in all the groups. I know Turkey's playing Italy on Friday. But go on, France to win it then.
France to win it. Okay, cool.
My prediction is that Euro 2020 will be postponed for a year.
Very good prediction. It's a very good.
And when it actually happens, what will happen is Scotland will need to beat Croatia in the final game by 2 goals, provided England don't lose by more than 3 goals to the Czech Republic, and that it will be a mathematical possibility for Scotland to go, and we'll all fucking lose sight of what's happening. And I think France will win, but I would not bet against Scotland if they get to a penalty shootout, because Scotland have never, ever lost a penalty shootout.
It's very true.
Yes, absolutely. We're all stating facts. My
third prediction is that if Scotland get to a penalty shootout, it's going to be fucking mayhem. Because if they're in a penalty shootout in a game which kicks off at 8 o'clock at night, you've got extra time. That's well past 10 o'clock. And it depends what part of the country is. The pubs might shut before the penalty shootout's finished. You get Manchester 10:30 closing at the moment.
Yeah. You're right through the squad. The whole of Scotland will take a penalty, and the winning penalty will be taken by Paul Dalglish.
Paul Dalglish get recalled off the bench.
Yeah.
Because John Fleck failed in a second COVID test.
Yeah. And, let's hope that fucking Paul Dalglish scores, because the next one due to take a penalty after that is Lulu.
Another prediction is the best player in the Scotland team will be a left back. That's what I've got to say.
The most unbalanced squad ever. So, 2 best left backs in the world.
This is better than
2 best left backs in the world. Some Australian donkey up front.
If only Ali McLeod had 2 left backs, it would have been a different story, wouldn't it? You know?
It would have been. Aye, Argentina would have been totally different. Don't believe. Aye, see, and I was there.
Were you?
Aye.
In fact, for the media.
No, I was part of the backroom too, Matt. It was me that found out. It was me that found out the hotel swimming pool didn't have any water in it. And I found out the hard way.
Awesome. Now let's draw this to a final silly close. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do football tricks. We're gonna all do a trick with a football to show off your footballing prowess. So we have Gavin. We have Gavin who used to play professional football. Is that correct?
No, I wasn't ever professional. No, I did play football, but not professionally. I got you.
Okay.
They used to pay for me petrol to go. Used to pay us £10 petrol to go up and train with Berwick Rangers. That's not what you would call professional.
that's what West Ham did.
The direction of Whitley Bay, or is it Heaton Stannington?
I'm involved with Heaton Stannington at the moment. Yeah, they're the finest non-league club in the East End of Newcastle. Well, not be the finest, but they're maybe the best supported in that division.
So let's see what football tricks we've got. So let's start off with Gavin.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I've got football. So if you don't mind, this is rather like my stadium. Can you see that I've got my ball? Oh, hold on. You'll only see it briefly going up, but it's just kick-ups I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, yes, there you go.
See that?
6.
Oh, that's just that comes off the failing cabinet, so that's loud, isn't it? And what about if I put it on my foot like that? Hang on, just.
Oh, very good. Yeah, there you go.
That's just holding it there. Cruyff turn.
Very good. A Cruyff turn. I love it.
I get wrong with my mum now for banging up from upstairs.
Got a good ball here.
The missus is coming upstairs right now.
Look at that. We've got a ball now.
Oh, Bob Doolally.
To be fair, that's a good trick.
That's a very good trick.
Who taught you that, Bob?
George Best. It was great, wasn't it? And we're talking about people who died, and I think everyone was very, very upset about Ian St John.
Yes.
I think everyone who watched the St Greaves Day, they were upset by that. Everyone in Liverpool was upset by that, but they get upset about fucking anything. The whole football family was upset. And on top of that, and I'm amongst this bunch of people who are upset, there's a lot of people very upset who had bets that Jimmy Greaves would die first.
Brilliant. Now I'm going to judge this. I'm going to have to award it to Gavin. I thought Gavin was good, but Gavin won. Gavin with his little Cruyff turn. I loved it. This is it. Flashbacks from New Year's Eve as Bob's drinking. This is brilliant. So this is the final part of the show. This is about anything that you're kind of doing right at the moment and plugging. Again, this show is all about donations. Please do donate. The link will suddenly appear there. There you go. PayPal.me/freefest online. Anything you donate will be hugely appreciated. And now it also takes me on to the last bit of the show, which is plugging. So Gavin, what would you like to plug?
Well, the two things I've plugged, you can watch my sitcom on Amazon Prime, just type Gav, or you can go to if you're in Newcastle, you can go to my live show, which is Gavin Webster Plays Live to Actual People on Friday the 12th of November.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Bob,
Well, I've got a very exciting opportunity coming up now, and it starts in August and goes through to May of next year. I am going to be the pitchside mascot for Alloa Athletic. I've got a costume and everything. I'm Willie the Wasp. Willie the Wasp, pitchside Alloa Athletic. I can't wait.
Awesome.
Scotland won now, but you know.
Thank you, Liam. This has been one of the best shows I think we've done. Thank you all very, very much. And thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Bob, for being part of the show. And yeah, fuck Dave. Who cares? But thank you very much for watching Thursday's show. And see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.